Hey, in this interview, we're going to be interviewing Sarah Faith. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Chris with Picks and Sticks Music Studio, and we're an all things music channel. And we like to support our local artists and bands. If you like this interview, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications. And I am very excited to get started interviewing Sarah Faith. And I'll introduce her right now. Here she is.
Hello.
So why don't we get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
I would love to do that. My name's Sarah Faith. I am a singer-songwriter from Nashville. And Chris, before I forget, thank you so much for having me. I've seen you kind of check in and out of my live streams for a long time, and I appreciate you so much for hanging out and kind of supporting what I'm doing. My husband and I moved to Nashville about 18 months ago. We're from Michigan, so we wanted nothing more to do with the cold weather that exists up there, and we wanted to come south. But now, of course, it snowed like 5 times in Nashville, so we're like a little confused, but I think it'll be okay. Eventually, it'll calm down. And yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I've got a lot of projects going on right now, but mostly for me, I have discovered music as a way for me to share my story and to use songwriting as a way to communicate when my words fall short. And I like to write a lot about the things that have happened in my life, and I believe they've all kind of led me to where I am right now, which is sharing my story and meeting people like Chris. So yeah, if there's anyone that has any questions, feel free to jump in and ask away.
Yeah, Sarah will be answering some live questions, and she's going to perform a couple songs.
Yeah.
So be patient, and we'll get to the song part. I really appreciate you doing this interview with me. I know you're busy doing some other stuff around the house and stuff like that, but I really appreciate it.
You mean, wait, it's backwards. This blue tarp behind me? Oh yeah, no, we're not repainting our cabinets in one weekend or anything. No, we wouldn't do that.
And you talked about the move down to Nashville. This is a really great story. I know you told it on Georgia Songbirds. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's a really great story. I know your listeners have probably heard it a couple times, but mine haven't. So if you could tell that story, it's great.
Yeah, I would love to tell that story. So some of the friends that I've gained in the past year or two, they've kind of coined me like the master trigger puller. If there's a hurdle to be hurdled, I don't really think twice before I just jump over it, or at least I try. So I was in a band when I was in Michigan. I was having a great time. I was a backup singer and rhythm guitarist, and it was mostly country covers. He did some original things, and I just had a really great time learning a lot of things with that band. I made some great friends, met some great people, but I just could feel myself being tugged. I had been in choir my entire life, so I've been singing, all through, everything. And so music was always something really important to me. And then I also have always written poetry as a way to cope with a lot of things that I've been through, which I'm sure we'll get into that part of my story as well, which I have no problem telling. And so I just started, I had my first like songwriters like wake up in the middle of night with a song in your head thing. And I was like, oh shoot, I wonder if I can combine, music and poetry and kind of start doing the songwriting thing. I think I had it in my head that I needed like someone to tell me it was like okay to be a songwriter, but I soon discovered that was kind of silly. So I started writing songs and, kind of felt like that was bringing me a ton of joy. And so there were people out of nowhere. It was very random. People would ask like, oh, have you ever considered moving to Nashville? And I would look at Ryan and be like, not really. We want to move someplace warmer, but we haven't really thought about it seriously. And just, it was very weird how people kept asking that. And I kept feeling like we should move. And then my band and I were down here for CMA Fest in 2019. And as soon as our van, I was in a van, 1 girl, 5 guys, 1 van, not fun, stinky, very stinky. And we're in a van and we crossed the border of Tennessee, and I just felt this overwhelming feeling of like just relief. And I just thought to myself, I think I just entered home. So I told Ryan about it, and he was like, okay, well, I'm just going to maybe ask a realtor if she can come over and appraise our house and see what we might be able to get for it. And so she came over, and what she told us she thought we could sell our house for was like quite a bit more than what we thought we could sell our house for. And within a week, she had a cash buyer. And we were like, okay, I guess we just sold our house before we even thought this was a good idea. So our house sold and we were homeless. And then while we were down here for CMA Fest, we had actually met a realtor, which was very strange how that all happened. And so we started talking to her, and we bought a house on FaceTime, which probably sounds insane. It's exactly as insane as it sounds. My husband had not seen the house that we bought until the day we were moving in. Like, the moving truck was in the driveway, the boxes were being unloaded, and he pulled in from signing the papers, and he was introduced to our new house, and we already owned it. So between the time that we sold our house and bought our house, we were in Nashville in 45 days. I mean, it was like, boom, boom, done, you're going. And we had nothing to do but just like throw our hands up and be like, okay, God, I guess we're going. Like, it just, the way it all happened, it was insane. I don't even know what came over us. We just thought it was a great idea. And alas, here we are. This is the house I'm sitting in right now, the one that we bought on FaceTime. So that's kind of how we ended up here.
That's awesome. I guess let's get into some of that songwriting. And that's one of my questions was going to be, who are your biggest influences? You can talk about the songwriting and that as well, I guess.
Yeah. I think as far as songwriting goes, and everything that's happened in the past year has really given me a lot of 2020 vision as well, pun intended. So I really think that just from writing poetry and being so comfortable putting my story into words, that's really helped me leaps and bounds try to figure out this whole songwriting thing. And then we're huge fans of Dave Matthews Band in our house. My husband has been to 90 something shows, I think, which is a little bit insane. But I had always kind of liked Dave Matthews Band. Now I kind of love him because it's, if not for the fact that it was forced down my throat. But I started getting curious, and I was like, well, I'm really into this songwriting thing. I wonder who writes all of his material. And if you look at Dave Matthews' catalog, he writes most of his own stuff, and he doesn't have a lot of co-writers. So that has really given me a ton of inspiration as far as songwriting goes, just to be able to think to myself, like, the words and the stories that are coming out of my mouth are enough. Co-writing is very important, and I've done a lot of it. There's a lot of songs that I have written that I have co-written. But I think combined, the inspiration that I feel from Dave Matthews and his songwriting and all the stories that he tells in his songs, as well as having written my own story so many times and so many different renditions through poetry and journaling, I'm really feeling comfortable as a loner songwriter, I guess you could say. And then I also am super inspired. Lindsay Ell just put out a great album that, writes a lot about a lot of emotional things and heart things and her story of things that happened to her when she was younger. And that vulnerability really inspires me. I'm super inspired by Grace Potter, Ash McBride, that kind of thing. And then just like music-wise, stylistically, I grew up with my dad a lot in the car. And he actually, funny story, my first car that I ever got was a 1997 Pontiac Grand Am. Doesn't even exist anymore. Don't go look it up. You can't buy them. Pontiac doesn't exist. Which in hindsight, I probably should have kept that car. Probably be worth something right now. And he said, okay, Sarah, there's something about this radio that you should know. And I said, what's that? He said, well, if you play country music in it, the speakers will break, which I went for it hook, line, and sinker. But he was obviously kidding. He's just not a country music fan. He brought me up on 90s alternative, 70s and 80s classic rock and all that stuff. So I'm like a huge Bonnie Raitt, Fleetwood Mac, Queen, Rush, all that kind of stuff. That's like my bread and butter when it comes to like music style.
Nice. So you were talking about, I know you've been doing a lot of writing and stuff lately. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us songwriters, we were forced to kind of go inward when the world told us we couldn't go outward. You can't perform, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's dangerous. You're going to get people killed and whatever the case may be. It's just not safe for concerts to happen. It's not safe for people to, and of course, Nashville was having a hard time keeping bars open anyway, because there were riots and there were all kinds of things going on. So it's just been a very interesting time in Nashville with the tornado, and it's just been like a really rough year. So for me, we actually live about 45 minutes west of the city, and that has been very beneficial because we have been able to just kind of sit on our little plot of land, hang out with our goats, walk our dogs, and play golf. Like, that's been our thing. We just like play golf because it's safe, and walk our dogs because it's safe, and just don't go anywhere. Don't touch anything. Don't look at anybody. Just stay away from everything. And it's worked out so far. And so, yeah, I have written a lot of things. And, also I will say that when we got to Nashville, we had just gotten married, and, we moved. We did a lot of things all at once. And there was some stuff going on, with Ryan and I, and we had to figure that out. So that, combined with everything that 2020 brought, I had a lot to think about and a lot to write about. And that was when I first started writing things by myself. The first song I ever wrote by myself that I would consider worth anything was Honest. And that came from just a really raw part of my soul. And that started giving me confidence to just, if we're talking about stories, nobody knows my story like me. And I really don't mind telling it. So as raw and honest as I want to be in any song that I want to write, I really feel like this past year has given me the confidence and the ability to just kind of go there. And it's been really nice to kind of have that practice and that space, because I'll say, like, before COVID hit and all that stuff, I was playing out probably 3 nights a week, maybe more, sometimes less, sometimes more. And that doesn't leave you a whole lot of time or space to kind of sit in your thoughts and give yourself really the time to feel them. So I've been actually really thankful for all the time that I've been allowed to just kind of feel and write. And my songwriting journal is around here somewhere. Yes, most of the pages in this journal are full because of Corona. So I've got that going for me, which is nice.
That's a lot. That's a lot of writing.
It's a lot. Yeah. And this is actually my 3rd songwriting journal. So there's a lot of material here. And a lot of material that'll probably never see the light of day. Because it's not good.
I'm sure it's fine. So Dawn says hi.
Hi.
Well, you want to perform a song?
Sure, I could do that.
And while you're getting your guitar and stuff, just reminding people, if you want to ask questions stuff, just put it down in the chat and we'll get them answered.
Do you have anything that you want to hear particularly, Chris?
I'll let you pick. I mean,
he's letting me pick. All right.
Maybe maybe the last one we do your debut single, maybe.
Okay, we can do that. Am I playing 2 or am I playing 3?
Whatever you want. Whatever
I want. I've got the power. Let's see. I will play, since I was just talking about it, I'll play Honest. So, as I was talking about this song, it really came from like the depths of my soul. And it really came at a time where, I think sometimes it's, as humans, you hear about, it's just a white lie. It's not a big deal. It's just a white lie. But I think that if we let ourselves kind of get in the habit of telling little white lies, it becomes habit. And then you think it doesn't hurt anything because you think it's not a big deal. But I actually think that it chips away at us. And I think it also chips away at the people that we love. And I just think that sometimes it seems like you have to tell those white lies because it's easier than being honest. But I think that if we really challenge ourselves, being honest is the best way, maybe not the easiest way, but in the end, when everything's said and done, it is the easiest. Because when you get yourself caught in a web of lies, you just can't get out. So that's what this song is about, and I hope that you enjoy it. look you in the eyes and tell you everything's okay. I'd be lying if I said the reality of you and me looks easy in my head. I'm not saying it's goodbye, but maybe it's close. Maybe it's all a big mistake, and I don't know. All I know is I'm hurting you, and I'm hurting myself too. Oh, falling in and out of love, and you deserve to know the cold hard truth. So I'm working on it, just being honest. I'm just being honest. If I'm being honest, I got a lot on my mind. And the girl I see looking back at me, I don't even recognize. I gotta clear my conscience from this mess I made. Living in the house with you gets harder every day. The day will come when you wake up and see maybe you're better off so far away from me. Away from me. 'Cause I'm hurting you, and I'm hurting myself too. Oh, falling in and out of love, and you deserve to know the cold hard truth. So I'm working on it, just being honest. I'm just being honest. I'm at a fork in the road, I got nothing to lose. The nightmare can't be old when I choose. When I choose to stop hurting you and stop hurting myself too. Oh, I'm falling in and out of love, and you deserve to know the cold hard truth. So I'm working on it, just being honest. I'm just being honest, just being honest. I wanna be honest.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
We have a couple questions coming through.
Okay, let's have them.
All
Let's
right.
put this baby down.
So,
Sweet baby.
Angie,
My guitars are my best friends.
Angie wanted me to ask her about her goats.
Oh yeah, everyone loves these goats. Okay, so my husband and I, we moved down here. We have about an acre of land, and we wanted that because we also have 3 dogs, which is insane in and of itself. So we have 3 dogs, really needed a place for them to run around. And then we were like, you know, we could really just kick this up a notch and we could get goats. And at first it was kind of an idea that I think made both of us laugh. But we did it. We got goats. We have 2 goats. We got them when they were just babies, when they were 3 months old. Their names are Fluffy May and Basil Blue. Fluffy is all white, which actually she's starting to turn kind of brown. If you go on my Instagram, you can see her. She runs around like a crazy person. And Basil is black with like little bits of white on her. And they are just such joys. They are so crazy. Actually, my friend Angie was at my house today. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. And she brought her dog Yogi, and Yogi was actually chasing the goats today. The only problem is Yogi is a dachshund. He's a wiener dog. So his legs are only so big and can only go so fast. So he and the goats have similar top speeds, and it was just a riot to watch them all run around. But yeah, we have goats. We want a donkey. We want a horse. I want a dairy cow. Like, I think if I had to describe goats, I would say they are hilarious, but also they are the farm equipment of a farm equivalent of a gateway drug, because you just want more goats and or more animals. That's basically what's happening to us right now.
At least you had the space to do that and everything.
Yeah. Well, and everyone asks us, they're like, so you still have to mow your lawn? I'm like, well, yes, we still have to mow the lawn. They don't need that much grass.
So I grew up on 6 acres and moving up, I was down in Florida.
Okay.
And moving up here to Atlanta, now I have like quarter acre or something.
That's what we left.
Like,
this thing is tiny. Yeah.
All right, we have another question from Scott Reeves.
Okay.
Do you find Nashville more competitive than other cities to get booked at venues?
I would say yes, but I would also say that's because the way that Broadway works, it's so competitive. I haven't even dabbled into Broadway, because my personal philosophy as an artist and a musician is kind of adopted to something that I heard Kip Moore say one time. I don't know if any of you are Kip Moore fans, but he said, if I play everyone else's music, no one will get to know me. So I really seek to find opportunities where I can play mostly my own music. I have a few cover songs that I live for. But mostly my goal as an artist and a musician is kind of telling my story and relating to people through the way I've experienced life. So it's a little bit difficult to find venues to play that are cool with original music. So I've really had to kind of look outside of downtown Nashville. But I will say as well, I have found some amazing friends and some amazing writers' rounds to get involved in. And those are all original music. So I've kind of steered away from the cover gigs just for myself. So I know those are super competitive, but I just haven't had to really deal with it because it's not really what I want to do. Right. So I've kind of cheated the system a little bit as far as that goes. Obviously, if I play writers' rounds, I make zero money, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. I hope that answers your question.
No, that's great. And that question was actually almost perfect. It was almost like it was planned or something, because one of my next questions was going to be, what's your favorite venue to play at?
My favorite venue to play at, there's this place about 25 minutes from me in White Bluff, Tennessee, and it's called Salt and Pepper Grill. And the owner of that used to own a bar downtown Nashville called the Blue Door, the Blue Room, the Blue something. If he hears this, he's going to kick me for saying that. But he owned a venue downtown Nashville, and he used to run the sound, and they always had really good sound there. And he owned that venue when Miranda Lambert was coming up and all that stuff. So he's very experienced as far as running a venue. It just happens to be in a less crowded place. So I love it there. It's called Salt and Pepper Grill. My good friend Pime Hernandez runs around there on Thursday nights called Just the Song. So I play there occasionally. And I just really love that space. It's super friendly. Everyone's super nice. Then again, being from Michigan and being from the Midwest, everybody in Tennessee is super nice. So we've gotten a lot of better attitudes down here, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to piss anybody off, but people are nicer when there's less snow. I'll just keep it there.
All right. If you could play any venue, what would it be?
If I could play any venue, gosh, this list is so long. And does this include, is this buildings or is this festivals?
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay. So, we'll go big goal and then we'll go normal human goal. I've got my sights set on the Listening Room right now, which is downtown. I've got my sights set on the Bluebird Cafe, which is downtown. I'm a big Matt Carney fan as well. And he played this venue in Knoxville called the Bijou Theater. And that's on my dream list. But I also want to play like huge festivals. Like I emailed Bonnaroo this year just to see. And they sent a really nice response back that said, hi, Sarah, thank you so much for reaching out. We do not book people this way. They don't do like solicited performers, I guess. So I'm just going to have to wait until somebody invites me. But my hand to the Bible, I will get invited to Bonnaroo one of these years. I swear it. It's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably pretty in the box as far as venues go. Those are all in like Tennessee, which is kind of lame, but
my second interview I did was with Elliot Prather, and he got to play at the Bluebird, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, during quarantine, we got addicted to the show Nashville because, I mean, what else were we going to do besides watch all 6 seasons of Nashville? And so, yeah, I've seen a lot of the Bluebird Cafe in that show, and I have to play there. I just have to. That's all there's to it.
All right, this is kind of a repeat question. I ask it every time, but it's an interesting question. Dead or alive, who would you want to perform with?
Okay, and it sounds morbid when I say my dead person is, but I'll just say, because it's your words, not mine. My dead person is Freddie Mercury. I'm a huge Queen fan. My dead band is Rush, and I don't even think all those guys are dead yet. And my alive person is Lindsay Ell. But there's a list of people in all 3 of those categories as well. So, I mean, Grace Potter would be sweet. Bonnie Raitt would be amazing. I would probably pass out. I probably wouldn't even remember. Like, I would be sober as a judge, but I wouldn't remember a damn thing about any of these things. So I'll just throw that out there right now. And then I don't know. I would love to perform with Chris Stapleton. Like, I have so many like dream. And the thing is, like, there's a couple people on this list that like we're really good friends. They just don't know it yet, kind of thing. So,
right.
Like, these are people that I hang out with all the time in my mind.
We have another one. I think I know the answer to it, but Scott asked, have you ever showcased for any labels?
I have not, but I would love to.
And
if you know a guy, hook a girl up.
But you're an independent artist, right?
I am independent. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I always say, I really love being an independent artist. It does make things a lot harder, but there do exist independent record labels. So if a deal came around and I felt like I was doing business with my friends, then I would totally, entertain something like that, because I just think that there's power in numbers. And when you're working with someone that also wants you to succeed, then it's a win-win. But sometimes labels and record deals can get a little crazy and a little hairy and can kind of cost you more than they gain you. And I'm not into that.
Right. Well, it looks like we just picked up a whole bunch more people in here.
Sweet.
If you guys want to ask any questions, feel free to put it down in the chat, and we'll try to get them answered. And if you guys are enjoying this interview and you want to see other local artists and bands and stuff like that, don't forget, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to try to do these more and more. So I enjoy it, and I really appreciate Sarah doing this with me.
Yeah.
You want to perform another song?
Sure. Although I don't know the thing with me is I never have a set list and never have a plan. And I can't decide if I want to change that or just keep it the same. I kind of like freeballing it.
You do it every Wednesday, right? So she has.
I freeball the heck out of those shows.
So she does a live. It's every Wednesday. Not every, but she tries to do it every Wednesday, right? And you do like a live, performance, and she talks and stuff like that. It's really good. I'll let you tell more about that later, but
sure.
But yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna play. Everyone seems to love this damn song. I wrote it with my friend Allison Elena, and I love it too. So I shouldn't I'm not calling it out like it's a dumb song. I really love it. But I'll play you a song that is not going to be on the record. It's for future things. It's called Mona Lisa.
I've heard that one. I love that song.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we wrote this song because it takes me back to my childhood when I was a kid, and there was just so much crap going on at home, with my mom and everything, that I just, when I got to school, that was like my safe place, and I didn't really want to go home. But when I was at school, like, everything was easy. I didn't have to deal with anything. I didn't have to be myself. At home, I was like, oh, this is my life, and it kind of sucks. But when I was at school, I got to be pretty much whoever I wanted, and no one had to know what was going on, like when I was at home. So I really had this idea that, kind of the way I behaved when I was a kid was kind of like Mona Lisa. I kind of like smirked my way through life. I just was like, nobody asked me any questions. I don't want to talk about it. Like, you're never going to know that anything's going on, and you're never going to, like, you literally will never know, because if you ask me, I'm not going to tell you. And I think that's it reminded me a little bit of like all the many conspiracy theories that there are about Mona Lisa, and like who she was and why she's smirking and why her dress is brown and why everything in the painting is brown. And like, there's like so many theories. So we wrote a song about that, and it's called Mona Lisa. And I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah, I saw it on your YouTube channel where you performed it with another band.
That is Lindsay L's band. I got so lucky. They do this event down here called the Pitch Meeting, which is so fun. If you have any songwriters in Nashville that watch this show, tell them to go hang out at the Pitch Meeting. They change their locations here. Just figure it out. Find it on Instagram and figure it out. You have to go. It's Lindsay L's band. I'm a huge mega Lindsay L fan. She's the person, like one of the main people that I'm best friends with, and she just doesn't know it yet. But yeah, that's her band. If you go to my YouTube channel and you check out the video of Mona Lisa, that's actually Lindsay L's band backing me up, which is so cool. They let songwriters like bring their chord charts and play their songs with a full band. So it's really cool, because a lot of us have never heard our songs with a full band before. That's not the chord. I want you to know that's not the chord. But this is. That is. So this one's called Mona Lisa. And you know what it's about? Wrote it with my friend Alice and Elena. And I hope that you like it. Everybody's looking at your picture. They think that they've got you figured out. She's probably hiding something I can see it in her eyes. She's waiting on you to break that crooked smile. And you never say a thing, and I'm trying like hell to do the same. I've been keeping the message up, walking around acting tough, playing it safe, playing the game, whatever it takes. And everybody's got their story. Everybody thinks they know me. A million versions of the truth, just like they do with Mona Lisa. With Mona Lisa. Oh, if you cry, you're probably dramatic. And if you smile, you're probably insane. So I keep it somewhere in the middle to save face, 'cause I don't wanna hear what they have to say anyway. I've been keeping the message up, walking around acting tough, playing it safe, playing the game, whatever it takes. And everybody's got their story. Everybody thinks they know me. A million versions of the truth, just like they do with Mona Lisa. With Mona Lisa. And I got good at faking it through, and I bet she did too. I've been keeping the message up, walking around acting tough, playing it safe, playing the game, ooh, whatever it takes. And everybody's got their story. Everybody thinks they know me. A million versions Everybody's got their story. Everybody thinks they know me. A million versions of the truth, just like they do with Mona Lisa. Yeah. With Mona Lisa. Yeah. With Mona Lisa. With Mona Lisa. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that song.
Yeah, I'm glad that you do. I have a lot of cool plans for that one, so stay tuned.
All right. Your buddy Angie asked about your motto, choose your
Oh,
legacy.
fab.
And
Angie's
she
just
talks about
egging
your
me
merch
on.
too.
Fab. And Angie actually owns pretty much every bit of merch that I have. She's a great friend. So I came up with, through my childhood, my mom was an abusive alcoholic. So that was really hard. And I had to try to navigate that with my dad. And I was an only child. And I was told that I had to keep, whatever happened in the house stays in the house. You're not allowed to talk about it. But I had to tell my dad because I knew that something needed to change. And I knew that he was the only person that could do anything about it because I was a kid. So, growing up, my dad got custody of me and I went through high school and I went to college and, everyone is such a loose term, but I heard numerous times, Sarah, you really need to be careful because you could end up just like her. And I think in the back of my mind, my entire life, I've kind of had a fear of ending up like her. And unfortunately, 4 years ago, she passed away from alcoholism. She never got sober. And for a child, hearing, be careful, you might end up just like her. That's like probably the worst thing that you could ever tell me. But also the best thing, because in those moments, not only did I want to say, like, screw you for saying that, I also wanted to say, watch me prove you wrong. So I've developed this motto called Choose Your Legacy, and I've got it on the front of shirts and hats and stickers, and it's all over my world because I really think as humans, my story is unique to me, but I'm not the only one that has experienced tragedy. And I know that people go through things every day that are really hard to go through, really hard to talk about, really hard to figure out. But I think that there's an underlying challenge whenever we face hard things that, you have a choice. You can choose to be miserable. You can choose to be unhappy, and you can choose to be mad at the world and ask, why is this happening to me? Or for me, I have found a lot more joy and a lot, easier path when I choose to just figure it out. I also lost my grandma and I lost my uncle and my mom's mom and my mom's brother actually. And my mom and my grandma and my uncle all passed away within 18 months of each other. And I was the person that was put in charge of all that, not by choice of me, but by choice of my family. They chose to make those decisions, and it wasn't fun, but I had to go through that and deal with that. And I had a choice of whether I wanted to say, woe is me, this sucks, I hate this, which sometimes I did. Sometimes I think it's human to get angry and you get overwhelmed. But at the same time, you kind of have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and just figure out how you're going to handle it. Because there's a million ways to handle whatever circumstances we're put in. And then some just end up leading to more joy than others. And I think for me, I have found it more beneficial to choose the joy. And I have, it's how I've kind of stumbled into this. This is my joy. And I think that the air traffic controller of the universe would always point you towards your joy. Like, that's where you're supposed to go. You are supposed to do things that make you happy. We're not put on this earth to feel pain, I don't believe. We just got to figure out how to make the best out of whatever we have, because things are going to happen. You just have to choose your legacy. You have to choose what you want to do and how you want to deal with your stuff. Because that's ultimately what you have left in this world when everything's gone.
Right. motivative too, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, like when my family members just kept passing away, I felt like I couldn't take one more step, but I just had to, you just have to.
yeah.
You have to keep rolling your sleeves up and cleaning up the mess.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that. But
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy time. But all three of those humans are in a much better place. I have to believe that. My mom was suffering completely. My uncle was suffering completely. My mom and all of her siblings had battles with alcoholism. So it was just a battle for all of them. And then to be the mother of 4 children that all battle with addiction, I can't even imagine what my grandma's life was like. So all of them are stress-free, pain-free, and hanging out with Jesus right about now. So
yeah,
that makes me happy.
I lost my dad in September and lost my mom Christmas Eve. So it's
Of this year?
Yeah. So it's
Oh my
a
gosh.
little rough, but
This is what I mean when I say I have no room to complain. Like everyone's going through something. So I'm very sorry to hear that as well.
it's all good. So on a brighter note, what are some hobbies of yours?
Apparently collecting animals is a large hobby of mine. Yeah, we like to hang out outside and play with our animals. I also love to golf. I'm actually a decent golfer. I'm an 8 handicap, which is a little bit crazy for a woman that doesn't really golf that often. But it's truth. I love playing soccer. I played soccer in college and growing up. I like to cook a lot. I love to eat, which is why I love to cook.
That's everybody's hobby.
I love to eat. You just can't tell because I run around like a maniac and like burn every calorie that I put in my body. And I don't know, maybe my family has genes of a great metabolism. But for whatever reason, I can eat almost an entire pizza and never really worry about it. And now everyone got mad at me for saying that. You can't talk about politics and you can't talk about your metabolism, Chris. This is 2021.
All right. So what's your favorite guitar you have?
My favorite guitar.
I thought Scott would ask this question, but he didn't.
He hasn't asked it yet. Has anyone asked it?
Nope.
No one asked it. Okay, Chris asked it. Perfect. So I named my guitars. For those of you who don't know that, Chris, you probably know that. This is Delilah. And as beautiful as she is, she's not my favorite. But she's the one that I play the most because she's acoustic and she's low maintenance. Like, I like her. I don't know why they're all girls. The universe names my guitars for me. I just go with whatever the universe tells me to do. This one's my favorite. Her name is Bonnie, and she's a Gibson ES 335. She's a semi-hollow body. She's matte black finish, which I don't know if you can tell. You can probably kind of tell. It's not super shiny. She's a matte black finish. You can see like the natural wood grain coming through. It's amazing. There's it's got a couple tone pots, a couple different sounds here, and this guitar is just a great guitar. There's a really cool story behind how I came about this guitar. It was actually a gift to me, and I'm super thankful for it because, damn, this baby would have been expensive if I'd had to buy it on my own. But yeah, she and I have a great time together.
I've been trying to get one of those, but yeah, they are a lot more money than a Les Paul.
Yes, a lot more money than Les Paul. And I actually have an Epiphone Emperor that's a hollow body that I got for, a pretty good price, maybe like a fifth of what this thing would cost me. And I love it. But of course, as a human, not just a woman, but as a human, I'm going to gravitate probably towards the most expensive thing I can.
Yeah. Have you seen Dave Grohl's?
No.
It's
I bet you it's amazing.
It is.
I've got my eyes also on a Gretsch. I mean, my guitar collection is pretty complete the way it is. But I mean, if in the event that there's another guitar in this house, it's going to be probably a Gretsch.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah. And then also I should probably introduce you to this is my second favorite. This is Elsa. She's a Strat. I bought her off Facebook Marketplace. I drove down to Little Rock to get her. And the guy knocked $50 off for me for doing that, which was great. And actually, a lot of the white on white Strats that you see have a maple fretboard, but this one is rosewood. So I like her because she's different, like me. So that's a lot of the collection for all y'all that are curious.
Oh, here's a one of Scott's typical questions. He always has these oddball questions that are awesome. If you had to play a round of golf with only 3 clubs in your bag, what would they be?
Okay. Well, I mean, is it cocky to say I have to have the driver? I smack the shit out of my driver. So that's definitely going in there. Because it gets me out of all the jams, especially, well, it depends on what tees I'm playing too. If I'm playing the forward tees, I'm definitely bringing a driver because I can drive it over all the trouble. If I'm playing the white tees, then I would probably bring a 5-iron, a 54-degree, and a putter, because you can reach most holes with multiple shots off a 5-iron.
Right.
But if I'm playing the female tees, then I'm just bringing a driver and a sand wedge and a putter. Just go. And if I have to hit driver off the deck, so be it.
And my dad was a really good golfer, and when I was in high school during the summer, we'd play just about every day, or whatever day he was off, we'd go after, late afternoon, we'd go and just play like 9 holes.
Yeah.
And he would be like, just leave your driver at home. He's like, all you need is your irons. And it does. It makes you a better player. Dad. It makes you a lot better player just playing with your irons.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So you want to do one more song?
I could do another one for you for sure. Let's do by request of yourself. I'll play a little before you, which actually, did you know this song is getting a remake?
No.
Okay, well, I'll just be really honest, but also very nice. My first bout with this song, I did it in a studio with a very talented crew, but it came out a little too country for your girl. So I'm working with a new producer, and we are taking all the country out of it completely and going more in a direction that resonates with me, having grown up with a dad that says, if you play country music in your car, you're going to break your speakers. Like that's what, that's what we're going with. We're going with 90s alternative, 70s and 80s classic rock, like all that stuff. The Grace Potters of the world, the Katie Pruitts of the world. We're just really kind of giving it some grit. So this song is out currently, but it's going to have an entire new rendition once the album comes out. So now you know. This song is actually, I wrote it with my friends Golden West. They are from LA, but they reside in Nashville. And when I went to write with them, it was a Friday, and we were like, all of us kind of had discovered that we had kind of been writing sad songs recently. We kind of wanted to write an upbeat song. And so Britt came up with this little like jig thing, and we were like, oh, that's cool. So we were like, big for you, kind of like started singing along with it, and it kind of started taking shape. And then I was like, oh, I saw like a little light bulb went off in my head. I saw a little opportunity to like hijack the whole session and infuse the song with my own story. So I wrote this song about just, how out of color my life was before I met my husband. I dated all the jerks. I was cheated on. I did all the things. I had a guy that chose drugs over me. I had all kinds of shit happen. And it was just a mess. And I'm very independent. I kind of grew up that way. So I kind of got to a point where I was like, this life probably would be a little less complicated if I had less a-holes to deal with. So I kind of made a decision that I was going to try to just be an independent woman for the rest of my life. And then this dude walks up to me in a bar and he said, hey, how you doing? And I was like, damn it, you just blew my whole theory. But that was 5 years ago. So here we are. And this song is really about, how kind of hopeless it was before I met him. And I hope you like it. If you do like it, you got to go to the Spotifys of the world, the Apple Musics, Pandora it's on. It's also on YouTube. I have a homemade, like, behind the scenes lyric video that I put together. This rendition is fading fast, people. So if you want to hear it, you got to go check it out before it gets a remake. And also, it's just cool to hear it with real instruments as opposed to just acoustic guitar. So here we go. Perfect. Yeah, I thought that it was perfect, it wasn't working. I was wasting all my time, so damn certain that I would never find something worth it, someone worth it. I was in, I couldn't see the stars at night, couldn't count the fireflies, particularly kind of mood. Before you, those neon lights didn't shine as bright. Never realized that my whole life could be summarized in a word or two. Before you, just getting by myself and I went by my side on a Friday night and think that I need something new. Before you, you surprised me when you walked across the room, hypnotized me, staring in those baby blues, couldn't fight it. It was something so familiar, we can't deny it. We can't deny it. Now how can this be possible with someone that I barely know, never felt the way I do? Oh, before you, those neon lights didn't shine as bright. Never realized that my whole life could be summarized in a word or two. Before you, just getting by myself and I went by my side on Friday night to think that I need something new. Before you, before you. Now how can this be possible? With someone that I barely know. Before you, those neon lights didn't shine as bright. Didn't think that I need something new. Before you, those neon lights didn't shine as bright. Didn't realize that my whole life could be summarized in a word or two. Before you, just getting by myself and I went by my side on Friday night. Didn't think that I need something new. That was before you. Before you. Before you. Oh, before you. Before you.
Awesome.
Woo! And the crowd goes wild.
So let's talk about where people can find your music and where people, where you can, obviously it's COVID and all that. I don't know how often you're playing, but
It's COVID, people. Well, I will say though, people have been playing rounds and whatever, and I have noticed a trend. The more people play out, all of a sudden, randomly, you see them have to take about 14 days off, and nobody wants to talk about why. So yeah, when you play out, sometimes you get sick. But I made a deal with myself that I would come out from hiding and out from under my rock, and I would try to play one round a week. So I'm gonna try to play one round a week. I'm gonna see, who needs me to fill in where, and who wants me to come play. So I'm doing that. I'm also doing the Wednesday shows that you mentioned earlier. So those came about during quarantine, and I called them Peeling Back the Layers because I really thought it was a good opportunity for me to bring my story to people on Instagram, where people are probably spending a lot of their time just like scrolling around doing random things that don't make any sense. Maybe they would want to come hear like an inspirational 12 seconds from me, crazy person, completely crazy person. So that happens on Wednesday nights. I changed the time this year though, because I think it works a lot better for most people. It's at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, Wednesday nights on Instagram. Looking at doing some Facebook streams and some YouTube streams. Also, something that I haven't brought back yet that I've considered are Zoom live stream concerts. So I was doing like these big to-dos that was just me, and it was like a live performance, and I like plug in and it sounds cool, and I get all dressed up and did like my own show. So I've considered doing those. Those are ticketed events. I sell tickets for those, which have been really amazing. It's really cool to like be with an audience of like anywhere between 20 and 50 people. Check this thing out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I
That's
did that
okay. We can
early.
talk about it. It's no big deal. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I spend a lot of my time on Instagram, sometime on Facebook. I'm trying to be better. I can't be the jack of all trades, but I'm trying really hard because I'm a team of one. But head over to my Instagram and follow me. And then also I have this thing on Facebook called The Legacy, and it's like my official fan club. It's free to join. And there's going to be exclusive content in there that I'm not putting anywhere else. So if you want to be a part of that, head over there and join. There's like 2 questions you have to answer and you're in. It's not really hard to get in, people. You just get in. So yeah, that's where I hang out most of my time.
All right. And then she does have quite a few things on YouTube. She has great performances. And then she has this story about this car.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that real briefly before we wrap it up.
Cool. Yeah. So this car, Chris wanted me to send him a picture of this car. This is a 1982 Corvette Crossfire ejection. Very sweet. My husband and I were on a date night, and like 2 months before this date night, he had voiced to me that he appreciated his mom so much for dragging him around the states of Ohio and Illinois and probably Michigan and basically the greater part of the Midwest region when he played hockey his entire life. And just for how amazing his mom is, I can attest to it. I have the best in-laws in America, hands down. Don't even try to fight me on it. He said, I think I want to buy my mom her dream car. And I was like, whoa, damn, that's awesome. Can I be your mom? Not really. So he was like, I was like, what's your dream car? First of all, like this lady, she just moved to Oregon to be closer to my sister-in-law from Chicago. She sold her car. She has no car. So now Ryan's like, I want to buy her a dream car. I'm like, she just sold her car. Maybe she doesn't want a car. Anyway, we saw this car in a parking lot, literally 2 months after he had spoken this into existence. We bought it and we road tripped it across the United States to Oregon because we're in COVID. And well, she was kind of worried about, trying to be together for Christmas. But once we got to Oregon, we got COVID tests. We were negative. We're all good. And we drove this baby 2,496 miles to my mother-in-law in Oregon for Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
because we're insane.
Definitely check out the video. It's they did like a little time lapse with some montage in it, and a little bit of the story, and
that video's on YouTube. The hardest part of making that was remembering to actually video the things because I was so in awe of the sites that we have in this country that I was just like, oh shoot, video, like ugh. So I compiled some videos and made a little thing, and we got some reactions in there, and I drive it out of the garage unexpectedly. It's really cool. So if you want to see the story of how to almost kill an 82-year-old woman by bringing her a car, you can go check it out on my YouTube channel.
Do you remember where this was taken?
That is taken in Nevada.
Okay. That's really pretty.
Yeah. So Nevada probably blew me away more than any other state, although Oklahoma did try to blow me away with the numerous amounts of casinos that exist in that damn state. There's like a casino like every single mile, I swear. Like it's crazy. But then once we got to Nevada, basically it looked like this the entire time. There were mountains, and then there was a lake, and then there was another mountain, and I was just like, okay, like it's mild. And there were wild horses. I mean, it's all in the video. You gotta check out the video.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you, taking your time and doing this interview with me.
Absolutely.
This was awesome.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it so much.
I will put some time lapse, not time lapse, what do you call it? I can put in the description of like when the songs are played and stuff like that for people.
Yeah.
And then I'll put all your links, like your Instagram, your Facebook, Spotify, all that stuff. I'll put that down in the description. I haven't done that yet.
That'd be great. Let me know if you want me to send them to you. I can maybe quicken your process.
Yeah, I'll I'll work on it in the next couple days, and I'll get
Yeah.
that in there. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching, and we're going to end this broadcast. So thank you again, and as my dad would always say, drive straight home. Good night. Thank you.